I had this Garfield sweatshirt when I was a kid, and in big bold letters it read, "It's hard to be humble." And all these years later, I just have to assume that Garfield never had to promote one of his artistic endeavors. When my first book was published, I had a big event in my hometown bookstore, and like everyone I ever knew was there. Like everyone in my family was there.
So always doodling. I think he wrote his first book when he was in first grade, something he worked so hard for. He
drew a picture for my birthday for me and my sister.
My high school art teacher was there.
He always had the gift of insight and sensitivity, and of course drawing, illustrating.
My pediatric dentist was there. My pediatric dentist office manager was there to celebrate my publishing my very first book. And I naively thought that all events would be that blockbuster. I mean, we had 200 books sell out within moments. There were 300 something people who attended this event. The second book that I had published, I had about 10 people turn up to my event, and they were all my family members. And a beautiful memory to hold on to now because of their love for me. But every event that I attempted going forward, just no one really turned up. So I learned that you can count on your family and friends to really turn up in droves for your very first thing. Your very first gallery show, your first book signing, your first film debut. But after that, you're on your own. So of course I had to expand beyond just my hometown for book signings. And at every event that I put together at a bookstore, very few people turned up. There were so many events where just one kid was there, and that one kid just happened to be in the bookstore browsing with their parents.
Do you want to hear another story? Yeah. Okay. This is Max for president.
One of the most humbling moments for me came when I had a book signing in Portland, Maine. And I had a few friends who turned up, and it almost would have been easier if they hadn't, because there were no kids in attendance. Now, as I'm sitting at my table with my book bag hem, a kid approached my table. He put his hand out. He reached past me and grabbed a copy of Captain Underpants and went off about his day. But all of those early book signings, they weren't failures. They were lessons on how to put together a public event as an author. A few things that I learned. I learned that, well, it's way easier to go to 200 kids than ever to expect 200 kids to go to you at a bookstore. So that's why I started visiting a lot of schools, giving an author presentation and bringing a bookstore into the event to sell books at the school visit. I also learned that everything kind of goes in seasons. There are certain months that work really well for public events as an author, and some that just don't work at all. January, it's an okay month. February, March, and April are all great months to hold public events somewhere. On May and June, they stink. I've learned this as a parent. You're just really, really busy with the end of the school year. Now, July and August can work out okay if you're tied into some sort of summer reading program at a public library. September is one of the worst months to try to do a public event because everyone is trying to get their sea legs on in the new academic year. October and the first half of November are also great months to try to do a public book event. And December, as you can imagine, is not an easy month to try to do anything. So I'm very grateful for all of those moments where I was served humble pie. Now, still, all of my events are blockbuster events where hundreds of people turn up. Because no matter what level you're at, you're also beholden to the weather. If it's really nice out, people are going to want to go outside. They might not want to be inside for a book event. If the weather's really crummy and it's raining or it's snowing, odds are they don't even want to leave their house. So public author events can certainly be hit or miss. But those are some of the things that I learned over the years to have a successful event.